Hello, chat. Welcome in, everyone. Happy Wednesday to ya. It is Lemongrass night. I am Chef JT. Thank you for joining me. Welcome in, Will Poker. Hello, Atanaloa. Welcome, JK. Oops. Gonna mute for a second here because it's grinder noises. Okay. Forgot to grind pre-stream. New package of coffee tonight. So this is probably a mix between the last two. The new one and the last one. Hello, Justice Rise. Welcome. Hello, Cosmic. Things are things. I've spent the vast majority of my time between last stream and this one in bed. Thank you for joining me, everyone. Appreciate your company. Cheers. Yeah, I've gone to bed at like 8, 9 o'clock the last 2 nights. Like, mad early, and today I got up at like 4 or 5 in the morning, was active for a couple hours, and then like crashed and was in bed until 1. So, Duck. Don't think Duck has the same like cartilage ridge as maybe it does. Yeah, there it is. I went into a storage place the other day, and for those that haven't been involved in that drama for me, I have a storage unit, and the storage unit has been purchased by, well, the facilities. I think they were taken over by the bank, and they're now being owned by a big, publicly traded storage company. And the contract they gave me was junk. It's not even like, it's not filled out completely or properly. And finally got an I've talked with them on the phone. I've talked with the people in the office. I went back there early in the morning the other day and caught one of the original ladies in the office who I think realizes, I was in there, like clockwork. It was like I'm not a problem customer. And pointed out to them that, welcome in, Nan Reader. And pointed out to them that, yeah, this paragraph here, you didn't finish it. I'd be happy to sign this for you, but you sort of need to finish the contract first. And she sat there for a good 10 minutes on the computer looking at other contracts, I think, seeing what she could fill in without getting into trouble. And then was like, I gotta take this up with my DM. And so the fun continues. But at least they realize now. I don't think anyone there really realized that I was having this issue, even despite me talking to 2 people beforehand with their contract. And now maybe it'll get resolved. And it's been raining all day today, which... I don't know if I've always had sort of like seasonal unhappy, even though I don't go outside, I feel like I can't go outside feelings. It's certainly hit me since I've been living in California with the rainy season, and like everywhere else I've lived, it's just been, you know, there's rain. It's just sort of a regular thing. And here it's like, okay, it's raining. It's sort of dreary and miserable for like a solid 2.5 months. And so it's been raining pretty good today, but I don't know if, well, we're supposed to have a huge rainstorm here. So I don't know if this is the beginning of this huge rainstorm. Will deal with me slicing into this. The first rains we had are the ones that I like. The ones that don't last all day long, that don't make it look like it ever got light out, like today has been. I mean, it's 4:45 and it looks like it's, 8-9 o'clock at night. It's probably the lighting. So we put bird carcass back in here for turkey stock. Turkey duck stock. I'm making my gravy with turkey legs and duck. My original thoughts were I was going to do something turkey for Thanksgiving. But I'm doing duck instead. Gonna be doing, well, I moved my plans for Friday to Sunday. So Sunday I'm gonna be doing spicy spaghetti with duck legs. And then for Thanksgiving Thursday, I'm going to take the breasts and a majority of the still whole skin. I have all that fat from the last this last duck, doing the legs last time, so I can use that for the legs this time. And use the skin and the duck breasts and turn that into a roulade, sous vide that, and then blast it in the oven to finish it. Oh, dad joke. Alright, so we've got that there. I could marinate this. I don't think the amount of time that I'm going to give them marinating on this is going to do much good effect. So I am going to just leave it unmarinated tonight. Though if you're planning or doing this with a longer time scale and had an hour or two ahead of time, you could take what I'm going to use for the sauce and use it as a marinade. And so why don't we mix up the sauce next? So we have that. Ugh. Lemon juice. Soy. Fish sauce. Hi, Carl. I neglected to get fresh lemongrass, chat. Wait. This says it's fresh. That's rice vinegar right there, isn't it? Yeah. Hey, Mel. Rice wine vinegar in there too. Touch of, well, let's use regular sugar. With the honey and water. How'd you get in there, spoon? Freeze-dried ginger. Had to separate that. It was trying to slip underneath me as I was cutting it. Alright, so that is all the loveliness that is going to simmer down after our duck is done searing. Now we need to prep our taters. I'm forgetting dessert. We need to do dessert first here. So instead, let's go over to making a pound cake. And I don't have any butter to frost it. That is all I really needed out of that, was how close to a pound do I need to be with my pound cake? I need a half-pound cake recipe. Yep, Tanaloto, sorry. You gotta enter it for each round here. And because the bot is sort of confused right now, it just gave you 20 sprinkles. 10 for Twitch and 10 for YouTube. That wasn't enough with the butter. That's what I'm doing on, well, I'm not doing a pressure cooker. But I decided I'm doing pork chops and cider on Friday. And moved the duck to Sunday. Cod. Scrod is cod. It's a specific, I believe it's a specific type of cod, but Scrod reminds me of one of the few places that I had seafood in my diet as a child. My parents and I used to go to a cafeteria style like place every once in a while, and they pretty much always had this like breaded scrod. Hey, head of broccoli. Welcome, welcome. Still probably not soft enough, but gonna go with it anyways. Break out a metal spoon here and force our butter to be happy with the sugar. That's interesting. It's probably because Amazon doesn't sell it. You know, let's just weigh it. So you're going to be putting it on your popcorn, right? I just always think of nutritional yeast and popcorn because there's a local popcorn brand here that has a version of their popcorn they call hippie dust that's just coated in nutritional yeast. Are you saying this reminds you of your ex? Okay. Add in our lemongrass paste. And we got 2 more eggs to go here. This is going to be a lemongrass and ginger and lime pound cake that will be going in a loaf pan, so it's not a full pound. Which is really what I was looking up, what appropriate ratio of pound cake I needed to fill a loaf pan. Yeah. I don't know how clearly that comes across on camera, how much of that was in there, but there's a decent amount of ginger in there now. Still gonna add a touch of vanilla. And I'm gonna add a touch of ground ginger too. Oh, hey chat, can you catch that for me? Nice. Pinch of salt. Flour. Baking powder. It's alright, Carl Dalt. Will Poker's recycling it for all of us. Right, Rel? Right, Rel? I don't know what that was. What is with the earbud today? This is the third time you've, jumped out of my ear. Ugh. If you want to tap that for air bubbles, you can. I don't really care. I think it's going to be fine without tapping it. And I think it's going to be better on anyone's ears that are using headphones if I don't tap it. Oven's at 350. We're going to go ahead and throw that bad boy in there. Oh, that was an easy one, scramble. Okay, taters. I was going to be working on the taters before that, but we needed to get the cake in the oven first. Potatoes we're going to do a little differently from usual. I'm going to do sort of a almost Greek style of roasting the potatoes tonight, where they roast them, but they roast them, it's almost like braising in the oven. They roast them, but they leave them in enough stock / lemon juice / liquid that it still leaves a little bit of pool of flavor. It's sort of like they're always swimming in a little bit of it. Any advice for a guy with no restaurant experience who's willing to gain it plus bust their butt off to train hard? Don't use being willing to work as you're in, because you'll just be exploited. Like, what boss out there does not want someone out there that's just gonna do your job well? Don't, like, this whole macho bullshit about pulling 18-hour shifts is just how you get a back that feels like mine. It really, food is a extremely tight market. Restaurant market these days is really shaky. Like, you're dancing a fine line to keep a restaurant running these days. And before this whole thing with COVID and everyone wanting everything delivered to their home, it was a little bit of a gamble that you were going to be the rock star that you got found. You worked in just the right restaurant at just the right time that you got acknowledged, and you could move on to something better. Because otherwise, like, head of broccoli, a sous chef does not do prep work. Well, he does a little prep work, but a sous chef is the head of the kitchen when the executive chef is not there, or when the head chef is not there. He sort of makes sure that, like, the chef is off worrying about orders. He's worrying about he got what he paid for. He's worried about hours that his employers and schedules. The sous chef is there to make sure the kitchen is actually just still running. And the busboys, preps, cooks, they're all basically looking to the sous chef to what they need to do in the moment. Or if you're in a finer restaurant, the chef de partie. Or the head of your department if you're in a hotel. Like, I had a garde manager at one point because the banquet staff had been separated between hot foods and cold salads and stuff like that. Well, Outlaw Odyssey, I would say that you can learn just about everything on YouTube that you could learn in a restaurant, unless you care about learning it about that specific restaurant. Because every restaurant's going to have their way that they do stuff, but it's never going to be the same between restaurants. And the general knowledge, you can get the general knowledge without breaking your back. If you do the time, if you spend the research, if you have the interest to learn it and study it. Prep cooks. In a normal kitchen, you know, or even a normal fine dining restaurant these days, they're prep cooks. There are, I mean, if you look at this other things, like if you look at brigade system or stuff like that, they would be Kami, which is the sort of base entry in the Discord. It's you're entering the kitchen. Essentially, you're not doing dishes. You're cooking, but you're entering the kitchen. But that position, you go and look for a Kami or a CAMMIS position, you're not going to see a listing anywhere. It matters greatly what type of restaurant you're in. Like, the size of the kitchen and how many people you have working in the kitchen. Like, you could say your typical mom and pop restaurant, you've got 2, 3, maybe 4 people in the kitchen, not counting busboys, dishwashers, but the actual cooks. You go into in primetime hours, you go into a Cheesecake Factory, and you've got 8, 10 people on the line, plus 3 or 4 in the back that are just doing prep work. Or you could work in a resort hotel where you have a large, what they call banquets, and it does handle banquets, but they also are sort of like the central commissary in a lot of these places. If you go in one of these resorts that has multiple restaurants in it, like places like Vegas and stuff like that, they certainly have kitchens in the restaurants, and they do work in their kitchens, but like their soup of the day and their stocks and the things that they can make cheaply in the restaurant or in the hotel for everyone, they do it in the restaurant or in the banquet session. That thing just doesn't want to stay in my ear tonight. I don't know what I put in the menu, what I was going to be doing with the potatoes or not anymore. But we're doing soy with the lime. Lemongrass. Interesting. Garlic powder. Ginger powder. Hi, chat. Oh, the music been off this whole time? Oops. So, I don't think that's the proper pronunciation. I just felt like saying it after reading it. Normally these are done with a bit more like lemon juice in there. But as you can see, there's definitely liquid in the bottom of the pan there. We'll set those over there ready for when the cake comes out. Maybe we'll start our sauce a little early here. So this is what's going to go over our duck once it's done cooking. Flat tops are not efficient for homes. They work for restaurants. In restaurants, there's sort of like two types of flat tops too. I mean, if you keep them clean, they're really only one type, but most people think of the griddle flat top that most have, but a lot of them also have like a heavy metal top that's more along the lines of you're cooking all day long. Heavy metal top, much like a heavy metal cast iron pan, is going to retain heat. It's a lot more cost efficient for you to have versus constantly heating a piece of metal, having a metal that stays warm for a little bit. But for a home where you're just making 1 or 2 meals in a day, it makes... Yep. You could go with induction instead of the flat top. You won't have to deal with any of the gas issues and worrying about fans being on all the time and stuff like that. Yep, Mel. Very much feel that pain with setting everything up for the stream. Oh, hey. Helps if I turn the dinner command on, huh? Doesn't it, chat? So we're bubbling over here. That's all we really need to bring this up to. We can reduce it a little bit more once the duck is done, but I'm probably going to strain that when I put it over the duck. Broke one of my strainers the other day, chat. I'm down to one strainer now that has a handle attached to it still. I am not a fan of the whole slicing my duck all over the place in order to get the fat to render. I'm actually much more a fan of just poking it. Endlessly poking it until it relents. No. And so but the thing here is the skin is going to prevent from some of the fat from this rendering, and we definitely want that fat to render. So while I went through and pinpricked that thing all the way through, there aren't these huge cuts like this in there, which is what I don't want. Yeah, there are better tools than just a... I don't really have a good tool for... Let's not get into that. So, cold pan. Yeah, the old good corn cob holder ones that were designed, like the modern ones you see now, they're like plastic screws. Like, how does that work? The old ones that you could actually do some damage with are the ones you want. Thank you for your agreeance with me, Header Broccoli. I think it makes for a better product. I don't know that I've ever come across a situation. It looks great in photos, which is probably why they do it. But I've never come across a situation where, like, cross-hatching fat was how I wanted to go about the project. I think at this point we're basically waiting on our cake to be done, because I think the potatoes and the duck are actually going to take about the same amount of time. I'm going to be starting my duck the way I was taught. I've seen several ways of doing duck, and many people have different opinions on it with how to deal with how much fat there is on the top of a duck breast. I think this is the best way, is you render it out in the pan, you use the rendered fat for cooking the breast. It just takes a while. It's not friendly for a restaurant where you have a 5-minute ticket time. I really like the way the legs came out. Like, other than the fact that I couldn't sell those as confit legs, like, they fell apart. They were just swimming in fat. Nice head of broccoli. And they're essentially how I'm going to do them on Sunday. We're going to break down another duck on Sunday. And the legs I'm going to use for some spicy spaghetti. And do duck leg spicy spaghetti. And the breast we'll have for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving shopping in full swing. I went by Whole Foods the other day. 2 of them in the county already have live trees out front, well, fresh cut trees out front. And I was saying that in Discord, and I was like, how the heck are you gonna buy a fresh cut tree now and have it still look good at the end of December? Like, it's gonna be nothing but like, everything's gonna fall off of it by that, like... We got about 6 minutes here. Why don't we do a little AFK? We'll come back when the cake is ready to come out of the oven. It'll give me a chance to run the next round of ads and get them out of the way for another hour. And we'll get started with potatoes and slowly searing this duck when we come back. I am going to do... I don't know which one I have this set up for right now. Given the choice, you want ads or infomercial, chat? Infomercial? I'm going with that. Okay, folks. So it'll be about 10 minutes from here. The cake is only going to take... Well, it could take another 5 minutes past that. I gave it a 5 minute in case it was too fast. But we'll be back in 10 minutes here, chat. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, the management of this theater takes great pleasure in making this announcement. To each lady attending this theater each week, You'll receive absolutely free a fascinating 12-piece kitchen cutlery set, one piece each time. It is really interesting and amazing to know how you can prepare your meals in an appetizing and pleasing manner. There's an old saying, and a true one, that what is pleasing to the eye is bound to be pleasing to the appetite. I'm going to demonstrate this set to you, and I want you to watch it very closely. The first cutter that I'm going to show you, now this first one is known as the Parisian cutter. Wind it through the potato like a corkscrew. When the cutter appears on the opposite side, pull the cutter out. Place the handle in the center and twist it out. This is what they call a French curl. When you fry these, they come out like donuts, nice and brown. Serve them with your steaks or pot roast them. Unwind it, there's 2 curls out of the 1 potato. Tomorrow morning for breakfast, wind a little strip of bacon around the potato and serve them with bacon and eggs. They're delicious. Different colored vegetables, wind them together and you get the 2 colors. Here's a little trick cut. Split the curl halfway through the center. If you're making a shrimp salad and you happen to run short of shrimp, mix these in with the regular shrimp. Upon my word, you couldn't tell the difference until you start to eat 'em. Now the rest of the potato, you stuff it. We'll call this a little chicken. We'll call this here some hamburger. You might have a little meat that's been laying in the ice box for a few days. Chop the meat up fine, season it highly, stuff it into the center of the potato and bake them with the skins on. When they're done, cut them in 2. Serve them on the half shell just like that. Serve them in slices when company calls. The more company you have, the thinner you cut the slices. If your mother-in-law calls, give her a big piece like that. Now the second tool in the set is known as the garnishing knife. Everything you cut with this must come out fancy. Watch this, please. You cut down, you turn the potato, and then you cut through the edge. First one way and then the other. Sweet potatoes cut like this. Drop them into a little batter of pancake flour and fry them. When they're golden brown, sprinkle molasses on them. Serve them with strips of bacon for breakfast while they're delicious. Here's beets, you pickle them, and carrots, you steam or cream them. In making the original French fried potato, cut them in thick slices. Put them one on top of each other. Cross-cut the slices, and you'll never eat a French fry any other way. The potatoes cut like this will not absorb the fat because they're garnished around. Pineapples cut for your pineapple and cheese salad, cut them the same way. Here is one, and this is a dandy. Cuts any thickness or any size. Open it for a thick slice, close to the top for a thin slice. Saratoga chips, you can make them for 3 or 4 pennies a pound. Just pull the blade towards you like this. If you want the slices thicker than this, open the blade, there's a thick slice. Shoestrings for your Friday fish dinner, cut them down like this. Chop them up for your vegetable soup. What this knife is really intended for is for cutting the cabbage. You know the old-fashioned board, how you rip and tear, sometimes nipping the ends off your fingers. Lay it flat and pull it lightly towards you over the cabbage. The weight of the knife across the cabbage is all that's necessary. Why, ladies, when you get slaw cut as fine as this, you'll certainly appreciate eating it. The crowning feature of the set is the cutter that I'm going to show you now. This is known as the Champeen Vegetable Mincing Knife and Noodle Cutter. Now, when you want to make some real fine noodles at home, you roll the dough out like this. Dip this into a little flour so it doesn't stick to the dough, and as you roll it over the dough, that will cut the noodles in long strips, 10 at a time. Did you ever try to chop up a little nuts for cake? Well, I've seen ladies chop nuts and the nuts land up on the ceiling. Sometimes you chop the ends off your fingers. When you want to chop up a little nuts for cake, cooked meat, clams for chowder, soup greens to throw into your soup. Making a little pepper or chicken hash is just a few strokes rolling it up and down. Why, here is without a doubt the meanest thing in the world to cut parsley. Put that in a grinder, you really grind it too fine. This machine, instead of crushing the parsley, cuts it quick, clean, and dry, leaving every bit of the juice and every bit of the flavor. Now, to clean this machine, you press the button. Rinse it out in a little water. When you're through using it, hang it up and let it dry. Here's one here that every lady should have in her home, known as the Parisian scoop. You lay it flat, once to the right, once to the left. When you scoop them out, you'll get a perfect round little ball. You can pot roast these, cut them out of cheese or cut them out of butter. When you're serving a fruit cocktail in the summertime, take your fresh cantaloupes, scoop them out like this, mix them with apples, pears, and watermelons, makes a delicious fruit cocktail served with a little cracked ice like you see here. But here is a tool, ladies, if you ever do get it, you'll thank the day you've seen this demonstration. When you press, it locks. It's like a pair of human hands. Reach in the oven and take the biscuits out of the oven. Ever take the hot potatoes out of the oven and burn yourself on the elbow? A roast chicken out of the oven, a piece of meat out of the pot, spinach, asparagus out of the water. Why, around canning season, when you're preserving the fruits, to take the hot fruit jars out of the water like that, that machine is worth dollars to you. And here's another one that I really know you'll enjoy having in your kitchen, known as the safety grater. No doubt you're familiar with the old-fashioned grater. I've seen ladies take a grater and rip the knuckles off. When you want to grate up potatoes for delicious potato pancakes, this has a smooth, flat edge, impossible to cut yourself. Just like you were washing clothes, you rub it up and down, and you really grate your vegetables real fine, retaining all the flavors and all the juices. Breadcrumbs for when you're serving veal cutlets or anything like that. You want a little breadcrumbs to fry your fish in? Why, there's the greatest proposition in the world. Use that for coconut, cheese, or horseradish. When you're through with it, just hit it down like that. That knocks all the food out. Rinse it out in a little water and hang it up and let it dry. Now, here is a stone made of carborundum and sapphire quartz, which is made purposely to keep these knives sharp. When they get dull, a few strokes over the edge like this, and you can put a keen cutting edge on it. If you have a dull knife or a dull pair of scissors, an old sickle or a scythe, a lawnmower, cleaver, an axe, there's a tool that will really put an edge on the knife, so the knife will really cut for you. I just want to give you an idea of how sharp that knife really is when you sharpen it with that stone. Ladies, I've seen some of you try to open up cans. Now, there's a can of Campbell's baked beans. I've seen ladies open up a can and you poke a hole in it, go around the top, hippity-hop, and your finger slips. Let me show you a real proposition. Look, lay it on the can, lift up the safety, and turn the key. That locks itself on the can. No harder than you were winding up your watch. Wind up the key and that'll cut the top off of the can slick and smooth. Notice how the end raises itself up in the air so you can lift the lid off, giving you a clean, smooth edge. Now that can be used for sardine cans, square cans, or round cans, exactly the same way. Now this tool here, my dear friends, needs no introduction. This will save you on an average of $20 to $30 every year you use it as a peeling knife. Here's a grater for cheese, coconut, or horseradish, a fish scaler for scaling your fish, and when you're coring your apple, it's just a slight twist of the wrist, and there's the apple core. There's one more tool that I want you to see, and I want you to watch this one very closely. Many a times when you're baking a pie, you have a pudding in the oven. I've seen ladies wrap a towel around your hand, and many a times you burn your fingers. Hook this onto the pot like this and lift the hot pots off the top of the stove. You've got a pie pan in the oven? Catch a hold of the pie pan like this. Why, you couldn't get it off with a team of horses. This will positively lift 100 pounds. There's a pail of water weighs 50 or 60 pounds. That's the way you pick it up. But there's one more tool. I'll be all through and I'll be finished. Oh, now the next tool and the last one is what they call the Sarah Bernhardt cutter. This was invented by the head chef of the Imperial Hotel in the city of Berlin, Germany. You place the screw into the center of the vegetable. Twist the vegetable until the threads catch a hold, then you wind this up. You keep winding until you utilize the whole potato. The faster you turn, the quicker the slices. Why, ladies, here's a machine for slicing onions. The first onion that you slice with this cutter, you'll bless the day you've got a hold of it. Every slice cut exactly the same thickness. Every slice cut the same size. In making what they call a rosette, pull the vegetable out like this. Pin the ends together with a toothpick. Drop that potato into the hot fat and fry it. That will come out like a donut, golden brown. If you're serving a nice fish dinner, a little parsley goes in the center with the fish all around it, makes a very appetizing dish. Did you ever try to slice onions with a knife? You know how you get one thick slice and one thin slice? Run the knife through the center. That will separate each slice individual. Almost like magic, there is every slice cut exactly the same thickness and the same size. Wouldn't you like to have a set like this in your kitchen? Why, of course you would. Now don't forget, attend this theater every week and receive this 12-piece fascinating...
Okay. Excuse me. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. Camera, are you with us too? There we go. I put another 10 minutes on the cake, and it's mostly done that 10 minutes already, but it did. I'm worried that the 10 minutes wasn't going to be enough. Like, it looked like it needed some time. Oh, we were talking about, or chat was talking about cutting eggs. I think these are the best egg cutters. Not specifically this one, but this style, rather. For, you just put your hard-cooked egg that's been peeled there, pull the wires through it like cheese. You can turn it and do it 2 or 3 times if you're good. Oh, hey, chat couldn't see that because they have wires in there. This is my choice for cutting an egg. If you're doing a whole bunch of them for egg salad or something like that. I'm not a fan of the grater. Let's look at this cake. We're getting closer here. I'm still gonna give that another 5 minutes. I think I added too much liquid in it. And it's having to cook off a little of that liquid. Go ahead and take our duck and lay these in the pan. Two E's, two L's, two T's, R and an I. You'll note most of the time when I put proteins in the pan, I start with the pan sizzling hot. Another 2 minutes here. Pork griots I've made on stream. They're quite tasty. Yes, it's potted meat. There's actually a, maybe you're familiar with it, they sell products in supermarkets, Fatted Calf. They're in Napa, and right downtown they have a shop, and they have pork griots there for sale, and I buy them like every time I go there. Just oh, they're amazing. When I did them, it was when I broke down a pig here on stream, and so I had a whole bunch of extra scrap and a whole bunch of extra scrap fat, and I was rendering fat, and I took all of that meat and all of that and just cooked it in the fat, and then jarred it, and it's like pate, but better. It's like pate, but you've actually got some meat structure to it. We have cake. Cake. Oh, I think pate is like pate and that whole genre of like, let's just sit down and chat and break bread. Love all of that stuff. Charcuterie, pates, force meats. It's all horrible for your health, but so. And I also get the idea that, well, in general, the more hands that touch food between it being in the ground and getting to your mouth, the more unhealthy it is going to be for you. And things like pate, forced meats, roulettes, potted meats are some of the meats that are going to be handled the most. And so not only are they some of the less friendly cuts, they've been heavily handled. They've been it makes them among the most unhealthy. Pretty much no matter how you look at it. But they're delicious. Okay, so cake's out. Potatoes are going in. We're going to turn the oven up to 400 from 350 now. Medium flame. I'm going to allow that to slowly heat up the pan, slowly heat up the fat as a whole, render it out, give us the best chance to get a nice golden crispy outside skin, and slowly cook that meat. I was surprised, Chad. I actually, I posted in the Discord just recently. I went to renew my passport. I already got my new passport. Like, I didn't pay for like expedited service or anything. That was pretty damn quick for government service. I can see that head of broccoli, yeah. Do you see that the government wants Google to sell off Chrome? I'm looking at news stuff. Yep. Yep. They said that Google's too much of a monopoly, and New York Times had an absolutely, scathing article about Google today, about how they were created essentially at the same time Microsoft was going through its first antitrust thing, and a whole bunch of stuff came to light about, and how they have essentially designed their business to be unapproachable in that sense, and doing things like having employees tag lawyers in emails saying things were privileged when they were just normal work. It sounds like they were straight up set up to deceive and exploit. And then we have Adpocalypse on Twitch. Is it a thing? Is it not a thing? They've most certainly had issues with things since TwitchCon, and with positions for or against in foreign things. But whether it's actually killed their advertising as much some of them are saying or not, but also X is now suing X, or Twitter. I should just call it Twitter. I call it Twitter normally in my head. After all, Elon Musk dead names his child. I should dead name his company. Twitter is now going to be suing Twitch as a part of its whole Twitter's adpocalypse, where companies decided they weren't gonna advertise on Twitter anymore, and apparently they feel they can sue over that. Yeah, and that didn't go so great during the last Trump presidency. They weren't too friendly with each other. I'm not sure. I'm not so sure how that's going to play out here in the next 4 years. And also, Bezos owns Twitch. However, I will also put this idea out there. I think quite possibly from a gaming aspect, like, what Amazon seems to do is push markets that they can make sales in and hinder markets that they can't. And I think they have greatly hurt the food market because they can't sell food online, at least very well. And that also hurts Walmart, which, you know, they were making a decent bit of change by actually having fresh food in their stores. And I think they may be doing the exact same thing with Twitch. They're not making money off of games. It's a market they don't want to compete in. What kind of meat do I have there? Those are duck breasts. Skin side down with all the fat slowly rendering under a medium. I actually turned this flame down a little bit. And then above it there we have our sauce that's keeping warm and slightly bubbling. We're going to render it down a little bit when the duck is done. We got potatoes down in the oven. I guess I should have set a timer for the potatoes. Set a 25-minute timer for the potatoes. And then over here on the cutting board, we have a lemongrass, lime, and ginger pound cake. Well, actually half pound cake. Because it was a half pound of butter, half pound of sugar, half pound of flour. We can probably risk unmolding this. That's the bubble in the glaze. This plate's got a small bubble in the... Oh, it's got two bubbles in the glaze, but I occasionally catch my finger on it, and it's like, ooh, why is that there? Is that dirty? No, just... Okay. No problem holding on to that at this point. Didn't fall. Nice bottom. Half-pound bread. Or half-pound cake. Lemongrass, lime, and ginger half-pound cake. So once again, nice bottom on that. Perfectly golden. Duck's starting to get there. Just real slow render and cook until we could be going a little hotter than this. We still got 20 minutes on the potatoes though too. Funny how certain things are picked up so much better on the camera than in real life. I can't even see this hardly, and like this is some oil and it's just perfectly butter oil, some sort of fat, and it's just perfectly reflecting onto the camera. And it's actually some sort of sugar. Oh, it's from the sauce from when I was whisking the sauce. It's sort of how some sounds pick up on microphones so much better than others. And certain things that happen in real life that are loud, but you don't really recognize them as loud, are just atrocious on audio. You know, through a microphone. You know, clanging metal on metal. I don't mind it so much when I'm sitting there stirring it, but I listen to it on stream and I'm like, oh, so loud. Bit of salt on the top side. Just continuing to turn the pan around so we get different heat levels on them in different areas. Yeah, here we go. Here's the article on Chrome. Department of Justice proposing forced sale of Google Chrome could fetch $20 billion if judge okays. McDonald's is going to sell McRib sauce. And the sushi restaurant I mentioned in the Discord is moving. Alright, now we're gonna flip these beauties. Salt. This pan's going in the oven with the potatoes. Thank you, Will. Actually, I think I have some over here. Yeah. I'm gonna bring this up to a quick boil here. Well, I guess we're watching it so it's not boiling. Are you watching it, chat? Is this your fault? A little cornstarch slurry thickening there. See, the bubbles are a little bit thicker now. Turn the heat off on that. And leave that over by the... Even though it's nice and purty by itself, that sauce, I am going to leave that over by the oven exhaust to stay nice and warm. I wish I had whipped cream and maybe some berries. We have some of our photos and our food. Share food channel. We got Crawdald, We have the fat left over from my duck in the last stream that I'm going to be using. We have meatballs from Ozzy. We have pupusas. More of the meatballs. We have Mel with her cider work. Looking yummy there. Oh, hey, I should take that duck out. No scramble, I'm not cutting it yet. Okay, I'm gonna cut it. You convinced me, scramble. Cake. Cake. I'm gonna serve it this way though. That way you see that golden bottom. Let's see how it looks from this. Looks a little dark on the other camera. It looks a little more accurate there. Like, beautiful golden bottom. Not so ugly top either. taters. You hear those? For those unfamiliar with duck, it does have a much more redder tint to its flesh. That is not undercooked in any sense or form. That is gorgeous to me. Maybe slightly more color on the fat, but otherwise that is gorgeous. Happy, happy, happy. Yeah, it's a much more meatier meat than, say, compared to chicken or turkey. And we got that beautiful sauce down there along with it. Let's give our pound cake a shot here. Good stuff. That's really good. I'm trying to think what I would go along with it. They'll go great with tea for like afternoon tea. It'd become amazing with tea. Be a good breakfast. I think coffee might overpower that. It might be too light of a flavor for coffee, but be amazing for breakfast otherwise. Go great with your OJ or apple juice or what have you. This, yeah, that's just gonna be yummy. I don't think I need to get into that on stream. That sauce turned out delicious. Duck is along there with turkey. It's not as quick of a animal to raise as chicken, and many times the farms that are raising them only harvest them once or twice a year versus chicken where they just non-stop. And so its availability is less. It's there is not only one but two major duck producers here in Sonoma. So let's see here. All you lovely folks, I want to thank you for joining me tonight. I shall be back here on Friday. Gonna be doing pork chops and apples and who knows what else. I feel like this needed a green and I didn't do a green. Maybe we'll do a green on Friday to go along with all of that. I want to thank you for joining me once again. Hope to see you here on Friday. What do you think? How do I do on the using lemongrass? Did I pass? Did I fail? Let me know in the Discord. I haven't put up the new vote yet. We need a new vote for next week. But we're going to have a new vote here soon for next week and do another ingredient challenge next Wednesday. Have a great end to your week, everyone. Good night.